You know, it's bad enough to have your property confiscated without charge or due process. But then to have to sue to get your property back, well, that just adds insult to injury. Even more proof that red flag laws are not only unjust, but immoral. So we'll ponder that next on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here once again with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and we teach the rising generation to be free. I am glad you could join me today. As always, I'm going to point you to that website, constitutionstudy.com. That's where you can find all things Constitution Study related. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a monthly update as to what's going on, where I'm going to be, even the opportunity to come invite me to speak to your group. As always, this information is there for you to use, but it's also there for you to share. So if you can help, if you can share the word, if you can buy a couple of my books or donate to the cause, anything that helps share this message is greatly appreciated. And I'm glad for everybody that's been commenting lately about how encouraged they are, how much they enjoy what's been coming out. And again, I'm looking to spread this even farther. I've seen some growth in the numbers, still rather slow, but we can help by, again, sharing, encouraging, and looking to educate ourselves, not simply be led by the nose by people we think know better. So many of you may remember the story I did about the Massachusetts crossing guard who had his guns stolen. They call it confiscation, but technically they were taken illegally without due process. And I found this article a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was worth pondering some more. Now, for those of you who don't remember the story, I'll put a link to my video in the description, but Mr. Stephen Nichols is a Korean War vet, had a 60-year career with the Tisbury, Massachusetts Police Department, and at 84, he still works now as a crossing guard at the local school. One day while he was dining in a restaurant, he was commenting to somebody about concerns about the school resource officer, about the fact that the resource officer was leaving campus, going to a convenience store to get coffee in the morning while the kids were arriving. And this concerned him because, well, this isn't a great opportunity for someone to commit some mischief. In fact, Mr. Nichols commented that somebody could show up and shoot up the place. Now, a waitress overheard the remarks, turned him into the police, who then came, removed him from his job, escorted him home, confiscated his weapons and his firearm license. For those of you not in Massachusetts, yes, you have to have a license from the state to even possess a handgun. All without any proof, without any probable cause. In this case, I don't even think they had a warrant. Now, while Mr. Nichols has gotten his job back, he still has not received his firearms nor his firearm license back. Now, apparently, I believe the police chief issued what's called a revocation letter, basically saying, nope, your license is no longer good. Again, no charges, no proof, not even probable cause. And in the letter he says, quote, "You are alleged to have made comments concerning being able to go in and shoot up the elementary school." Now again, that's factually incorrect. First of all, he's alleged. He hasn't been proven. They've got one witness who hasn't sworn to a warrant. And what he said was not that he would shoot up the school, but that somebody could shoot up the school. He was concerned for the children's safety. So he was required to turn in his firearms license and all firearms, rifles, shotguns, machine guns. And this was all without even talking to Mr. Nichols. This, if you read my article, I mean, it's a blatant violation of due process. And in fact, I even talk about things to consider doing if you're found in such a situation. Now, what's important is the Tisbury police didn't initiate an investigation. They never questioned Mr. Nichols. I don't even know if they questioned the waitress. All they did was say someone made an accusation and they violated the rights of Mr. Nichols. They took his property without due process of law. If there was a warrant, it was illegally issued. It's a terrible situation. And now, here's Mr. Nichols trying to get his guns back, his license back. Now, if the rule of law means anything in Massachusetts, when someone is found to be innocent of any crime, do you keep their confiscated property? Well, apparently in the state of Massachusetts, yes, and apparently in many parts of the United States, yes. That is theft. That is plain, bald-faced, government-sponsored, government-coerced theft. It is a violation of the Fifth Amendment, the 14th Amendment, because your property is taken, his liberty is taken. The man is not allowed to possess certain firearms because they won't give him his license back because of an errant allegation. What the Tisbury police are doing is criminal. And yet what's going on? What are the people of Tisbury doing to protect their rights? Okay, yeah, maybe they're not gun owners, so they don't think too much about it. But if they can come take someone's guns, why can't they come take something else? Again, why can't they come take your car? Because, well, you might drink and drive. Or come take your knives because, I don't know, you may hurt somebody. When do they come and take your smartphone? Because you may say something nasty on the internet. How long before our rights are taken away from us because we don't vote the way we're supposed to vote? Don't believe me? Well, remember two things. One, Jim Crow laws were started not simply because blacks were voting, but because they were voting against the established party. And two, the President of the United States has been charged with crimes, yet the only crime he seems to have committed is winning an election. Americans, where are we? Are we willing to stand with our fellow citizens for their rights or not? That's really what this comes down to. Are we going to stand with Mr. Nichols or not? Are we going to stand with our fellow citizens or not? Will we learn what Martin Niemöller learned when dealing with the Nazis? He wrote, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." See, first they came for the gun owners, but people aren't speaking out because they're not gun owners. See, then they came for free speech rights, and they didn't speak out because they didn't like hate speech. Then they came for the Christian, but people didn't speak out because separation of church and state. Then they came for us, and we found our rights were all gone. See, what happens to Mr. Nichols matters not just to him, not just in Tisbury, not just in Massachusetts, but in the entire country. If laws don't matter, if the supreme law of the land doesn't matter there, what makes it matter anywhere else? And if we're willing to let it be infringed there, what happens when that infringement comes here? So before you write this off as, well, it's just a Massachusetts thing, or well, it's just a gun owner thing, the question is, will you stand up for other people's rights or not? Because if you won't stand up for other people's rights, what makes you think anyone will stand up for yours when they're infringed? Head over to the website. You'll find all sorts of articles and videos where I use these examples. Examples of people's rights being infringed and the American people sitting back and doing little, if anything. It's time for us to remember that we, the people, through our states, created this union. It is we, the people, who hold these people accountable. And if we don't, then we get Mr. Nichols. And if they can come for him because someone misunderstood what he said in a conversation in public, how long before they come for you because someone misunderstood a conversation you had in public, or maybe just because they disagree with you? Think about that the next time someone doesn't like what you say. How long before they can just go to the cops and say, he threatened somebody, and they come take away your rights? This is not about guns. Guns are the medium. Guns are the tool. It's about our rights. Do we have the right Not just keep and bear arms. Do we have the right to private property? Do we have a right to due process? Do we have the right to confront our accusers? Do we have a right to compel witnesses in our favor? Do we have the right to innocence until proven guilty? Because if we don't live in a free republic. This isn't the land of the free. And if we're not willing to stand up for our rights, this is no longer the home of the brave. And that's not the country I want to live in. And it's not the country I want to leave to my daughter. Is it the country you want to leave to your children? And if you want to learn more, again, head over to the website, but come back here and we'll discuss other topics next time on the Constitution Study.
Thing you have to know wherever you make your stand came from a long